Good morning to you, sir, and thank you very much for your time.
Good morning to you and also to the listeners.
You know what I like about Nico is he's always got some interesting stories, really good stories. And I think this morning is one of those, talking around retirement and the then and the now, and just some of the realities.
Yes, I've been reflecting on retirement during the 1970s and retirement today. And I use as an example my father. My father went to work on the railways. He started working there when he was 15 years
Wow,
old,
so young.
and he worked there until he was 55. Now, in those days, when you started working on the SAR and H, as it was called, you knew what your pension was going to be. It was guaranteed.
Wow. Like from the start, kind of within
From
the
the
first
day
year.
you joined, you knew what
No
it was going to be.
ways.
It was absolutely guaranteed. And you knew he was going to work there for 40 years. He decided that when he got there at the age of 15. And so he knew that when he left at 55, he would have the equivalent of 85% of his final salary as a pension. And he decided he would leave at 55 because his father, who had worked on the railways, died at 55.
Yo.
And he was not going to repeat the history. He was going to end up with some pension in his pocket. And so he knew he was going to work, he was going to leave at 55, and he would have the equivalent of 85% of his final salary. That would be the pension that he was going to do. He bought a house, and that was the only debt we had as a family, his home loan. We never had overdrafts. We had no other debt of any kind. Even the motor cars were not bought with any debt. When he got to his 50th birthday, he'd finished paying off his home loan. And so the bank manager called him in and presented him with a credit card as a celebration. Those days, you didn't apply for a credit card. It was given to you if the bank manager thought you deserved one.
Wow.
And so he looked at this as if it would be been given a snake. And he wasn't sure he was going to use it. And so to encourage him to use it, the bank manager put 50 rand in the credit card and said, go and try and just see how it feels to use it. And so he went, bought something with his credit card, and then deposited the exact amount into the credit card so that the balance never went below 50 rand.
On the positive side, yeah.
On the positive side. And
Brilliant.
that's how Dad managed our finances as a family. Well, life today is a lot more complicated, and you couldn't run your finances in that particular day. Firstly, no one works for the same company for 40 years anymore. It just doesn't work that way. And no employer today will give you a pension that you can predict when you start working there. The risk is now on your head, not on your employer's head. Inflation is rampant, and it's going to eat at your savings. Today, we work off debt, and we do not recognize the degree to which that debt will destroy the value of our wealth. When we as planners today work, we use AI intelligence-driven software to try and help our clients predict how much pension they're going to have. It's not a matter of just using a calculator anymore. It's much more complicated than that. We use certain tools to help our clients today. So we talk about having multiple income streams. We no longer work on the assumption that your pension is going to be your only income stream, because we know if your pension is only going to be your only income stream, then you're going to be one of the 96% of South Africans who are going to have to go back to work because you're not going to have enough money. In addition to that, we work on a variety of assets to protect your wealth, which we didn't do 20, 30 years ago. Much of our work is beyond the skill level of the average pensioner. I find today the most common mistake that most people make is they wake up when they hit their 45th birthday, and now they want to start working on retirement and pension scheme. So if I were to give one bit of advice to listeners today, you need to take your retirement seriously. Don't make assumptions. And don't wait until you get to 45 and then start worrying about will you have enough. And get financial advice. There are 10,000 certified financial planners in South Africa. Get advice now. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Nico. And the earlier you start, the better. It really, really is so important. Thank you, Nico.